I'm now going to move to introduce our keynote speaker for tonight. And let me tell you one thing about keynote speakers at the Commitment Award. Because when preparing for our event every year, the team always pays special attention to who we pick to be our keynote speaker. Given how important the role is, we set out specific criteria every single year as to who we want to invite to take over this podium. This year, we were looking for someone who not only shared our vision for a more empowered societies across the world, but someone who practiced this vision in their day-to-day. And let me already spoil it for you, we hit a jackpot this year. Our speaker for tonight is a political scientist par excellence. She earned her master's and doctoral degrees from the University of Münster, right here in Germany, researching political science and government. While working towards her doctoral degree, she worked as a project manager at Ideen Mining, an innovative and above all, unconventional tool for creative problem solving, something we encourage our projects to always do here at the Commitment Award. In 2010, she was appointed as the director of the Finnish Institute in Germany, a forum for the promotion of Finnish cultures, art, academia, business in the German-speaking region. During her term, she worked on strengthening dialogue between German-speaking and Finnish cultures. When her 5-year term as a director ended, our keynote speaker for tonight was appointed as the managing director of Transparency International Germany. She led the organization's work on everything from influencing legislation to fighting corruption, promoting conditions that curb corruption. Upon her appointment, the chairwoman of Transparency International Germany, Professor Edda Müller, said, "The management of transparency is in good hands with her." So allow me to plagiarize the words of Professor Müller here and address our speaker and say, the Commitment Award podium is in very good hands with you. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my absolute pleasure to welcome Dr. Anna-Maija Mertens as our keynote speaker for the evening. Let's give her a warm welcome.
Thank you. It's really an honor to be here. It's fantastic. And as you all know, I was already once joining your event. It's many years ago, and I just realized I'm at TI already with 8 years in this December. And I would like to start by saying that the Willy Brandt School of Public Policy is a well-known institution worldwide. We just had our annual movement summit in this June, and I met one of the founding fathers of Transparency International, Frank Vogel, who used to be a chief editor of Washington Post and really starting with Peter Eigen, the whole movement. And he said, "I know the school, and you are teaching there." And I was really saying, yes. And this is a result I'm proud of, and it's an institution that you can name everywhere, and I think it's a very good, and I think it's this inspiration, what you say in your slogans, that you say to have a different perspective. And that's why I'm here, and that's why I'm very happy to be here, because always when I leave Erfurt, I have something in my luggage, something new, some new ideas, some new perspectives, and I'm able to do my work better than before. So thank you for this honor to be here. And of course, I would like to say hello to everyone, dear Heike Krim, Hussein Al-Mala, and of course, Lena Kiesewetter, ladies and gentlemen, students, all the organizers. It's really good to be here this evening. And I think the topic is really interesting. It's always good in these keynotes to step back, to take one step back and to think about, I was thinking, what should I be talking about? What is the most important topic at the moment that I would love to talk? And what could be the topic also, a topic that is relevant for all of you? And when we talk about global topics at the moment, we are talking just to say everything is changing, so everything is upside down. Something that we just achieved is not anymore there. So we need to have some structure here. And you mentioned already I'm a political scientist. I'm institutionalized. My task is always to bring structure, and not just to see what is the political outcome, but what is the procedure? How should it look like? How to guarantee that we get the best outcome possible with these sort of items, with these different parties, persons, ideas. And when I was thinking about this, and I was also trying to connect that to the topic social entrepreneurship, and also to the topic social change, how to gain change, very, very general level. And I saw also your criteria when you were assessing the contributions in this context. And I very much liked, of course, you need to have, in order to be a social entrepreneur, in order to achieve change, first of all, you need to have an idea. And ideally, it should be innovative, sustainable, feasible idea. In some cases, and here is also part of the project, and there are words, you need to have some money, seed money. In most cases, it doesn't have to be that much, but you need at least something. But the third part is the topic that I'm going to talk today about. You need to have scope to act in order to generate impact. You need to have the ability to act. And this is what I'm talking about, is power. Let's talk about power. I think this is a topic that we are not talking enough about. And this is an our part of the society, because we always say we are the good ones. We are the civil society. We are fighting for the common good. We don't need any power. We don't need any money, because power and money, they are items that we say it's something sort of, it's not good. This is something we don't need. We don't want to have power. And we need to learn how to cope with money and power, because we need that as well. I think power is something fantastic. Power is the power to do things, to change the world. If you have just an idea and the money, but you cannot move, and you don't have your scope, you are not able to walk, then you won't change anything. And this is power. We need to have power. We need to talk about it. We need to be proud of the power we have. And if you regard power very sort of neutral, power is a very neutral thing. It's like the most things in the world. It's a technical thing. It's a neutral thing, and it can be used in two ways. The one way is the constructive way, and the other way is the destructive way. And it's your decision to choose what way you will go. Are you going to use that constructive, or are you going to use that destructive? If you use that constructive, then you are able to do things. Then you are a social entrepreneur. You will have success. You will go further. And you need to have this power, and you will have the accountability. You will do things that bring not only yourself further, but somehow added value for a lot of people, for the whole society, maybe for the whole world. So you can change that if you use that constructive. But as we all know, there are also this destructive part. And we talk about abuse of power. Of course, if you have power, it depends on you what you do with the power. And you are able then also to abuse the power. And this is why we need here a risk management system. And if you like, this is the business case of Transparency International. To create and sustain a business that is really, it's all about risk management system. How to make sure that this power that is so urgently needed in these different corners of the world, how can we make sure that it's not abused? And you might remember last year, there was in Germany this huge scandal, mask scandal. It was a very, very sort of par excellence a corruption case like we defined it. We defined corruption as the abuse of entrusted power for private gain. So you need to have power in order to be able to be corrupt. And this is mostly public power. That is why it's important that we talk here about the public policy. But we are abusing this public power for your private gain. And this one mask scandal, we had, for example, members in the parliament. They were elected to the parliament, and from that point on, that you are elected as a member of the parliament, you are serving the citizens. And you are not serving yourself anymore, you are not serving the company, but you are serving the citizens. And if you are using this power in order to serve yourself and not the citizens, then it's abuse of power. And this is what happened in many cases, what we saw. And because it was a situation of crisis and conflict, the normal procedures were shortened, and we said also that the main thing is that we get the masks that we need in order to secure our health system. And it's always a very vulnerable process if we say it's an urgency. If there are similar cases, we now know from the German Parliament and the Ministry of Defense that we have this new $100 billion euro for the German army. And of course now they have this new legislation discussed today in the German Parliament, and I think it was approved, that it should be easier to spend this money. And we know that the whole defense sector is very risky business because there are a lot of money, only few players, and you don't know anything about that because it's national security. So this is something we need to talk about as well. So what I would like to tell is that if you go and organize your company maybe, and you have these social entrepreneurs, and that's fantastic, you should keep in mind, do seek power. You need to have power. But keep in mind, the more power you have, the better systems you need in order to secure that there is no abuse of power. There are different systems, and this is also a mistake, mostly of the civil society. The first mistake, in my opinion, is to say we don't want to do anything with power, so we don't need power and we don't need money. But the second is also that they say we don't need to be monitored because we are the good ones. We are doing, this is a good thing, and I know what you mean. You can go to the other side. The business is over there, and the politics is there. Here is civil society. You don't have to knock on our door. But they forget that we, all the people who are acting there, are human beings, and we have our strengths and we have our weaknesses. And I know some of my weaknesses, probably not all, because you are blind to your own weaknesses, but I know a lot of my weaknesses. And one thing is just technically impossible, that you have a system that you are at the same time in this monitoring process, object and subject. You cannot monitor yourself, so you cannot, behind closed doors, you cannot say, is it okay to do it like this or like this, and because I'm so powerful and one of the good ones, I'm able to decide by myself. I don't need anyone to check this. And this is nonsense. It's just not possible. So I would love to, in case you are, and hope you will be really successful and powerful, and you will have the ability to change the world, that just keep in mind, in situations that you have the power, and you are dealing with power, or you are dealing a mass of money, that the more money, the more power, the more you need risk management systems, that you open it up, that you say we need to have some decisions, need to be transparent. It's not enough that I talk about this topic just with my colleague, who might be dependent on me, but it's important, and when it's really crucial, that I publish that I show what I'm standing for. And by the way, I do believe also that you are then more able to fund your business, because you can show what you do with your money, what you do with your decisions. And I always say to my colleagues, every decision you take, just make a very short break and think about, is this something that I could tomorrow explain in a public press conference? Is this a decision that I can tell, why did I decide it like this? Do you have arguments? And of course you are going to make mistakes. We all do, all the time. Otherwise you wouldn't learn. It's not about that, was the decision the right one, but how did you make your decision? What was your basis? And if you have the feeling there is something you would like to hide, then you need to have a look again to this process. And the same counts for all our emails that we have. Don't send an email if you're afraid that this email gets to wrong hands. Just don't. Don't. Tell about what is my problem, how to talk about this, how can I connect this. So then you are able to put everything to turn around and show to the public. And this is something I think when we try chance to connect that, the power with the responsibility, and all reasonable democracies that are not that many anymore in this world, I'm afraid. This power needs to be connected to responsibility. And you can operationalize this responsibility into accountability. And accountability isn't anything else that you are able to explain. Why did you do it like this? And this is always like, because we are human beings, we actually know what is the right thing to do. If we really see, we know sometimes it doesn't feel good. Then in normal cases you have a conflict of interests. But don't start by the others. Try to see what is my problem here. And I had one occasion, I'm originally from Finland, and I had one occasion that I needed to hire a new person, staff member for the office. And shortlisted was also one person from Finland. And my colleagues were saying, because of nationality, you cannot have conflict of interest. But Finland is small. And it could be, for me, good to have someone Finnish speaking, then it's to have second language. So I put myself aside and asked my chair to replace me, just because I had the feeling. And be open to these feelings, to this, that you have the impression something is not good here. So you be reactive, see that, and manage that. So this is what I would like to tell you, and what I would like to invite you to be more brave and bold when we talk about power. Do seek that. You need to have the innovative ideas. And I like very much, Heike, what you said about this. You need to take initiative. It's not enough. It's not enough. You need to stand up and go there and do something about that. And I think this is important. And this one sentence I would like to add 2 more words, because you said it's not the work. So the state should take care of this. But I think I would like to say the state should take care of this as well. Because I do believe it's our whole responsibility to say, what can I do? What is my ability to do? And if you translate power to the word ability, it's easier, maybe, to understand. Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mertens, for that very inspiring speech. I gotta say, while you were speaking, I went to delete some of my emails there while you were giving that speech. All jokes aside, thank you very much for not only living up to our expectations, but very much exceeding them. As a small token of thank you, we would like to give you the little souvenir from the University of Erfurt. So thank you very much.